Hello and welcome back to Privilege Check, a podcast where two girls from different backgrounds come together to unveil the reality of modern society. I'm Loveleen.
And I'm Shivangi. Through this podcast, we want to reach out to the privileged
You already know you are because you have access to this podcast.
and teach them the 101s of how to not be a privileged.
This is the second episode for the Privilege Take, a segment for the Privilege Check where we dissect and analyze movies in terms of the privilege and the way it has been portrayed in the movie.
Yeah. So, for this week's episode, we have decided to pick a movie that is very different from the last movie we had in terms of the impact it created and in terms of like the storyline as well. I think a lot of our listeners would be familiar because it's literally a very popular movie right now. It's called The White Tiger. It's released by Netflix and it stars Rajkumar Rao, Priyanka Chopra, and an actor I do not remember the name of, but he's phenomenal when it comes to acting.
Gaurav Adarsh Gaurav, what was
Adarsh
his
Gaurav,
name?
some one of the two lovely. Adarsh Gaurav, yeah, Adarsh
It,
Gaurav,
it's a Gaurav.
phenomenal actor, just amazing. So
Yeah, who we somehow forgot the name of.
we suck, man. Like there's literally
Yeah.
no way we're getting out of this. So, do you want to explain what White
Anyway,
Tiger is? Not
yeah.
the White Tiger, but
So,
the yeah, go ahead.
yeah, white tiger is an animal which comes once in 10 generation.
Of course.
Because it's something, at least if this movie does not do anything for anybody, it at least teaches them what a white tiger is.
Yeah, I literally did not know White Tiger was so rare. Like I know it was rare, but not this rare. Yeah.
The tigers are dying, Shivangi. और
Arey,
उस पे भी
yeah,
white
that is
tiger.
a different case altogether. But like I didn't know if White Tiger was this rare. I leopard तो
Okay.
this
Okay.
is what happens when you get an ICSE education for like 10 years. This is what it does to your brain,
See, kids, go to SSC. It's okay. Go.
guys.
Don't be like Shivangi. Okay. Anyway, so basically, the movie is about entrepreneurship in the sense that it's this entire story of how a small town, small caste, basically a guy from below poverty line rises to heights and his entire journey through it. And as this seems like a huge rags to riches story, but it is not some it's not a movie that's going
It's not
to be
Cinderella
very,
basically. It's not.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
literally.
it's not something that makes you feel like, oh wow, it's so amazing and hard work and perseverance is the key to life. It is so real that you will just sit back acknowledging every every aspect of your life that you have been given in Dahej, basically,
Yeah,
by God, by your
literally.
parents.
Exactly. It's that impactful. Quite literally that impactful. Like no words. It's not an
Yeah.
understatement. It's exactly like that. Because what this movie actually does is, while it does shed away these popular conceptions people have about, success, hard work, and entrepreneurship and hustle culture, and how if you consistently push out the same amount of hard work, you're gonna get there someday. People are not gonna live long enough for that someday, right? So this is a take that the main character, I know his last name is
Balram.
Halrai, Balram.
Balram.
Yes, this character Balram shows. This is like the side he talks about that it's not a rags to riches story. It doesn't happen overnight. I don't just find Prince Charming and just like kiss him and just ride away in the sunset with him. It's not that easy, and this movie portrays it really, really well. So when I said it is very different in terms of Kali Pili, we have very different opinions about this. It's quite literally a contrast of how Kali Pili should have been when it comes to talking about working class and the marginalized. It is exactly the opposite of what Khali Pili should have been. Khali
Yeah.
Pili was actually. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's why it's so impactful.
Exactly. Yeah, and come on, like we're praising it. So of course, it's a great movie. You
I
can
mean,
write
we
it
are
down in your
liking something.
recommendation list.
We spend like 20 episodes just dissing everything we come across, and this
Yeah.
episode's all about appreciation. How
Yeah.
cute is that?
Exactly. We genuinely love this movie, and I think I think this from an entertainment point of view as well, it is beautifully crafted, and
Cinematography, lovely, and it's just
yeah,
so pulsating, quite literally.
exactly.
It's so slow. It just builds up so well,
Yeah,
done so well.
exactly. And you will not find one moment where, and because it is so impactful and it talks about the social divide, the socio-economic divide so well, yet at not one particular point will you find yourself sitting there wondering, what am I watching? Why is this so slow? What is going on? Not one moment where you feel that way. Because
Yeah.
every single scene has a purpose. Now, I know this is something my cinema professor has told
My
me, but
our screenwriting professor,
same
we
person.
are, yeah, same person, we are in
Yeah.
different pairs, but that's
Hmm.
what he always tells me, Shivangi, you
Yeah.
keep putting scenes to justify things. That's not how things are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Scenes are supposed to come out of you naturally. I think this movie really does that
Yeah.
well. Nothing seems forced. Nothing seems like, okay, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
this scene to explain this part of the character or this part of the class divide.
Exactly.
It just
Yeah.
flows so well. I love that.
Yeah. And it's like a daily routine.
Yeah,
Bahut, it's very natural. It's just there, like it happens. It's
yeah,
the daily routine. It looks like this is the instinct of the character,
yeah,
not something, not this entire, and because it is this entire life story
yeah,
that is being shoved into a movie. And usually you will find movies like this have you show different timelines and different aspects of the character in
hmm.
very different locations, but this is just one stretch which is
Yeah.
somehow showing
For
you
like
everything.
1 hour 30 minutes, they're just 1 hour 30 45 or something. They're just talking about one part of his life. It's just
Yeah.
really great how they've done it.
Hmm. And yet it's not boring.
Yeah,
It's so, it keeps you on your toes at every point. What is
it's
going
so
to
good.
happen next, and what is this person? The even the way that they shift from him speaking via an email to him to his flashbacks, or to like visual representations of what is going on,
Yeah,
feel like it has. And I really love this one particular scene, and because we have no structure to this, I'm just going to go
yeah,
ahead
yeah.
and
I also
say
have
it.
something related to say to this, so I will say it after. We're just gonna have to keep
Yeah.
moving like this.
Yeah. um of course the movie is not as structureless as we are right now,
Yeah,
but
of
yeah.
course.
um so there is this scene. Now of course we know that, spoiler alert, the entire movie is about this guy who's writing this email to the Chinese prime minister who is visiting India and wants
Hmm.
to meet entrepreneurs, basically.
China has prime ministers or is it presidents? I'm very confused.
President tha shayad, yeah,
Yeah,
probably. Was
yeah.
it, yeah,
Okay, I'll
yeah, they
edit
don't
this
have
out.
a, don't have, they don't have
Hmm.
yeah, communists, of course they don't have a democracy, which something that he keeps mentioning. How could
Yeah.
I forget it? Yeah. Anyway, so he's writing this email, and at the end of it, in his entire conversation, in his entire attempt to meet this person, you would expect that in the end this guy meets this person, and it's like it's a whole entire love sequence where he's meeting his idol, or he's
Yeah.
meeting this great person. But no, he gets ignored. He
Yeah.
gets ignored. I love it. I love the scene, and I love how real it is. Like, this guy has established himself, and now he wants to try to meet this potential, I don't know, whatever, for whatever reason he wants to meet this person, for getting potential exposure or whatever his motive is to meet this person. And you feel like
Yeah.
when he accomplishes it, or when he's close to accomplishing his motive, it's going to be dramatic and it's going to be life changing for him. But
Yeah,
no, the president just walks past him like he doesn't exist.
exactly.
And I think it's so beautiful. And
It's so
I
poetic,
can't say this
actually.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like speaking about the kind of, you know, not really balance, but the kind of way they switch between like the narration and then like
Hmm.
um him actually living out whatever happened.
Yeah.
And that's very very cool because most of the time it always contradicts what he's saying, what he's
Yeah.
like thinking about, what he's putting on the email. It always contradicts what he's saying. This is like in multiple scenes. Like
Hmm.
let's say the scene where he finds out the guard's Muslim, right? And the guard's coming back, and so what the narration is completely different, and what he says is completely different. Then when he meets his brother, like his brother's outside the gate, the narration is completely positive. It's of a
Hmm.
guy who's a very caregiving, a very generous, a very kind guy, right? And then with his brother, it's a completely different persona. So I really like this shift that like they always did. It really doesn't uh romanticize a person basically, because that's what we all see, right? When you have the hero
Hmm.
villain
Hmm.
trope, you realize one person is going to be romanticized for being just the best positive. I can't even see my hands right now, but like just the most positive version of a person that they are, right? And I really like how this person's in the black and white, and it's just very well like it very well expresses what it's like to be a human particularly. And in particular, talking about like the scene we talked about with the Chinese diplomat, I really really like it because it's so metaphorical, it is so poetic, and you could extract so many meanings out of it. Like there's on one side you could think that okay, after like killing your landlord, which by the way, spoiler alert, he actually kills not his landlord but like his employer or whatever.
You give spoiler alerts before you say something, but
Yeah, whatever you said, spoiler alert, it should be enough for both of us. I don't care. I hate spoiler alerts, by the way. Like it's just so dumb. Just take the spoiler. Anyways, I'm diverting from the topic. What I wanted to say was, yeah, the Chinese diplomat is so metaphorical because he literally killed his employer, bludgeoned him to death, literally, not even just killed, bludgeoned him with like a half, like, what was it? A partially cut beer bottle, I think. Yeah,
a
yeah,
broken alcohol bottle.
yeah, partially cut, Shivangi. That's very, very grammatically correct. But yeah, a broken beer bottle or whatever, alcohol bottle, whatever it
I
was.
don't think it was beer. I think it was a more expensive alcohol. Okay?
I've never drank anything in my life, so I have no clue. Yes.
Same, but
Okay,
I think it
lovely.
was some expensive alcohol that neither of us have any idea about.
Yeah,
But yeah.
great. So that happened, and so even after doing all of that, like, what did he do it for? Sure, he got himself a cushiony job at the IT service, at Bangalore, which is like the IT hub, literally at the crux of being, at the cusp of turning into an IT hub. That's when he started his White Tiger taxi services, right? And you realize that this is a person, in front of who, after doing so much, he'll still be a disgusting person. He'll still be like somebody who does not bathe or does not seem like what civilized people are, who doesn't like brush their teeth or who doesn't like comb their hair, who doesn't touch like their crotch. So it's really like the film just comes in like a whole full circle about you could do anything, but what you were born into, you can never escape that. So just really so many metaphors in this movie, I just can't.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. About the broken alcohol bottle. Not just saying this to get, but yeah, I really found it. I don't know. I don't even have the right word for it, but it's really intriguing that that's the weapon of his choice.
Yeah,
Can you imagine, like, this guy? He didn't go for a knife. He didn't go for. He didn't go for anything else. He could have
nothing that
had.
spilled a lot of blood. Like, and also it was a
Yeah,
worst weather. Like,
yeah,
blood would wash away. So how is he? He's not
yeah,
suffering. He's not really enjoying.
yeah. Exactly. He's not. It's not. It's not. Again, it's not flamboyant and it's not dramatic. It's just there. It's a half. It's a half broken bottle. It's a broken bottle. And I don't get it. I really want to know why specifically it was this his choice. I want to know about his weapon choice, his choice of weapon.
Did he
Um,
start drinking before that scene, or I think he was drinking before that scene only, no, not the
yeah,
bottle particularly, but he said right he doesn't
yeah,
because of his caste and everything.
hmm, yeah.
I don't know
And
what it
even when
was.
you mention about him still being like this person who is going to be disgusting to them, I think it's a very crucial point to note, because throughout the movie you will see uh, this divide into a person, into social class, not only but also in the educational levels, you could say. i
Yeah.
think I think educational level is the right term, because the stock is somebody who has been working, who's been establishing himself in India, whereas his son, I think they're calling him the lamb, if I'm not wrong. Yeah,
What are you talking about?
Rajkumar Rao, basically.
Abhay Sharma. What is his Abhay Sharma or something like that? Akshay Sharma. What is his name? Ashok
Yeah, but
Sharma.
I think, yeah, but I think he's been called the lamb in the metaphor of the lamb has been used for him in the movie, if I remember correctly.
I literally don't remember
His
that.
father was called the stork. His father was called the stork. There was this other guy who had another animal name. Anyway, guys, not important. You
Oh,
can watch
I
the
didn't
movie
watch
for
it
all
with
these.
subs. I watched it dubbed actually. I found a dubbed
Uh,
file, so I have no idea what you're saying.
oh, no, I watched it in English.
Yeah,
So,
I watched it dubbed. So I don't remember.
yeah.
When was he called Bakri? I don't remember. Bakri the right term?
Bakri. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. There's this father who has basically Balram's Balram's masters are this uh, this landlord and his son. So he's basically working for the son who's just come back from where? From America, Australia. Where did he come back from?
America.
Australia? America?
America.
Yeah.
The
So
wife
he's
is a
come back from.
NYU chiropractor. I don't know why I remember that, but
Oh yeah. Yeah. So he's come back from America, and uh, so the father who has established himself as a landlord in India is is steeped into the Indian traditions, and for for maintaining the relationship between a master and a servant, whereas his son understands that his son and his wife particularly understand that there needs to they need to be treated well, and there's dignity of labor and blah blah blah, which they very well also, according to their convenience, they decide that they can do away with, because there are particular scenes where we can even see uh, people, these characters who have been portrayed as progressive characters,
the,
are
the
seen
rage I have for
mistreating
these
the servant.
progressive characters, the rage I have. Naveen,
Yeah,
just repeat your last statement.
yeah, yeah. So these particular progressive characters, even there are scenes where they are conveniently doing away with all of their notions of progression, and they are seen as, again, they forget all their notions of dignity of labor and equality of people, and everybody is nice and you need to treat them well. They forget it very conveniently. And I think that also really shows how real and how much privilege they have and how it can be misused. So मतलब ये बोलते हैं ना, I there's this amazing saying in Hindi that I cannot find an equivalent for in English. I don't even know the Hindi one perfectly, but it's like जब मुश्किल आन पड़ती है तो सब अपना अपना ही देखते हैं. So it's like basically when
Yes.
trouble strikes, you will look out for yourself.
Yeah,
तुम
that's
जितना भी प्रचार कर लो, no matter how much you preach about, we need to treat these guys well, when it comes onto you, you will misuse your privilege.
But yeah, that's like the crazy thing about being privileged, and coming from a privileged position. Like, no matter how much you want to be the social Batman, and no matter how many podcasts you want to start to spread awareness about things, and no matter how many ways you think you want to help the world, when it comes like on a day-to-day basis, I'm exploiting my privilege on multiple occasions. I'm exploiting it for so many reasons, and it is true, like when it comes to us versus them, you're obviously going to choose yourself. So, as I think that's just like always, we're just contradicting whatever we do and whatever we say. But I think that's just a very valid point and a very important point to note that every progressive, can you even see my air quotes? I don't think so, but every progressive,
I post on
yeah,
yeah.
and every progressive is exactly like this, like literally, it's kind of hard to escape this and not to sound like a sobo chick right now, but it is weird when you see movies like this. And I mean, I would never say that I ever sidelined with what Priyanka Chopra was preaching. Sorry, Pinky's character was preaching, or like what Rajkumar Rao's character was preaching. They were so stupid. They were like, caste fast kuch nahi hota hai, chhod do wo sab. By the way, I watched the Hindi dub, so I don't know what they said in English. But them talking about all of this, it's just, I never sidelined with them, but it is still like a wake up call. Not really a wake up call, but it's just a fresh reminder again that, there's so much that you're just given for granted, and like there's so many ways of exploiting others as well. So it's really cool.
Yeah, just to add to it, there is this particular scene where Pinky's character is leaving, right? She's leaving back to go to the US and whatever. And she tells Balram that you were looking to some, like I saw the English version, so it's something along the lines where she says you were looking to escape, but when the key was always in your hands.
Oh, when she's looking outside the window. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
when she said
it's
दरवाजा
like
जो खुला था जिसके लिए तुम चाबी ढूंढ रहे थे वो तो दरवाजा हमेशा ही खुला था.
हाँ,
What she
yeah.
said in Hindi.
Yeah, for me it was the key was
It-
always in your hands. So
It was the best
yeah,
quote I've
basically,
ever heard. I just loved it so much.
yeah, exactly. This is for everybody who preaches saying that you always have the option, you can always change your life. But honestly, it's not that easy. Balram had to con his way out of the village. Had he not had the chance to leave the village and the leave his grandmother who has been taking money away from him, leave that entire landlord situation, leave that, and did he not have had this chance to live with Ashok and Pinky alone in Delhi? Had he not had to con his way out, he would probably still be stuck in the caste system. He would
Yeah.
probably still be in what was the village's name? Wherever. If he had been living with the stock, Lakshmangarh, if he had been living in Lakshmangarh with the main landlord, with the main boss who still believes in the caste system, and they want their servants to be high caste as well.
Dhanbad you're talking about now.
Yeah. So if he was still Dhanbad. If they were still living there, he probably wouldn't have been able to escape as easily as he did and rise above his situation.
Yeah.
So even though the quote seems all hail glory, I think it needs to be acknowledged that it's not that easy all the time. इनके लिए हो गया, like it was easy, it was not easy for him, it was possible for him, it may not be possible for everybody. Like for example, his brother, who has been living and who has been taking care of the grandmother, who has been his father, who had to give away all, there's this scene about the father
Yeah.
that I want to discuss, but his father, who had to give away all that he earned and only to be dead at the end of the day. For them, it wasn't easy to escape, it wasn't easy to move away. It is because of their sacrifices. It is, I feel like it's because his brother existed as a backup for the grandmother that Balram was able to leave the situation, that he was able to leave and move out.
I don't really think so. I don't think Balram had any attachment with the family, like at all. Like I don't think there was ever the question of leaving. Like like there was no trade-off between leaving my family with uh,
um
pursuing a life for himself.
what I am getting at here is actually that because his brother existed with his grandmother, that he was able to leave the house. I feel like if his
I
brother had
know,
not existed, that maybe his grandmother wouldn't have let him go. She was anyway reluctant, right?
but like he already left, right? She was already reluctant, and even when she told him the proposition about marriage and all of that,
Hmm.
even then you could know that she's up to something. She was not reluctant. She said no straight away because she had a plan
Yeah.
for him.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm getting at as well. I think if his brother wasn't there and if Balram was still like the sole
Hmm.
breadwinner or whatever, like a sole person his grandmother could rely on, I think he would have still
Yeah.
left because Balram's aspirations have always been more than what he has been born into. Like Balram's always wanted more, even when like picking Ashok. There's no absolute
Yeah.
reason for picking Ashok. He just liked Ashok. He
Huh.
just liked him and he just picked him. So I think Balram's
Yeah.
aspirations and Balram acting on those aspirations, I think it wouldn't have differed if his brother was here or not.
Hmm.
His brother played a very small role, according to me, in him making those decisions. It was almost like his brother didn't exist for him.
Hmm.
So that's also what I want to talk about. The family dynamic they've shown here is something I really appreciate. It's not that
Yeah.
sad, pathetic, poor family loves everybody. I love how they were just explained how each of them exploit each other and how each of
Yeah.
them are false to each other. I love that dynamic. This is a very true dynamic of like a modern day
Hmm.
lower caste family. It's very true. It's very hits you to the core how true it is, and
Yeah.
that's something I really appreciated about this movie. Really liked it.
Yeah. I think I think being poor, in sense being poor, not going to try to use a better word, being poor is been very, it's tried to be glorified and made to look very fancy by most Bollywood movies, by most movies in
Any
general.
media,
That
I think, like even
yeah,
photography,
yeah,
anything.
yeah, in media in general, poor people are made to look like, यार क्या हुआ हम छोटे हम दिल के बड़े हैं, and all of those dialogues are used when uh, to just portray them as people who may not have the financial backing but still are rich in the sense of having emotions and having
Yeah,
bonding and having feelings, and they're there to support each other. But when no, in reality, poor people as well will want to compete with each other,
exactly.
compete within the family because they
Yeah,
have to feed themselves.
yeah.
It is survival of the fittest. You cannot be a meerkat in this jungle of eagles. I saw Alvin and the Chipmunks this morning, so that's the reference.
I'm like, which Discovery World documentary did she come for since? I was like, what did she come with? God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I, yeah.
Hmm. So I really like that they haven't showed it as his family was supportive and they were all going to be there for. I also really
If
like
you
how they
compare
show
this
this
with,
entire.
yeah, go ahead.
I also like how they've shown that this entire family is there listening to this one person, the grandmother, and they're listening and they're listening and they're giving and they're giving and they're giving, but there is still this desire to break out. At all points of time, there is a desire to
Yeah,
break out, and I really like how, sorry, for whatever reason, the other characters are not breaking out, and they still show that there are people who are not breaking out as well
yeah,
through his email, through his letter, where Balram is telling that I really, really wished well for them. Like the driver, as for instance, where Shivangi is talking about the contradictions, where they show him as a person with emotions, but also a person who's not acting on those emotions, because for him, what is necessary is to rise above all of this.
yeah,
And it is real that you cannot be all goody goody to everybody and be very giving and very
yeah.
nice to everybody and still rise. Competition exists, and that's how it
In
works.
business, you can't play ringa ringa roses and take everybody to the top, okay? People have got
Yeah.
to die. People have got to be cut off from your ringa ringa roses circle.
Yeah.
That's how life is, and
Take,
yeah.
please go ahead, complete.
I just wanted to say Balram's a perfect example of somebody who's cutthroat in business, because being cutthroat in business is what gets you. Look at Amazon. Okay, very diverting from the topic here, but Amazon's cutthroat in terms of introducing things like Prime. No matter how much it hurts their workers and whatever, it's cutthroat in providing what the consumer wants. And Balram's exactly the Jeff Bezos of the lower castes in like India. He just does it so well. Like I'm not. I don't know if I would commend this or not. That's another discussion that we don't have the time to have. But I really appreciate this side of entrepreneurship that this movie has shown. Like that's what I wanted to say.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I really like that the scene in the end where there's one more scene and I'm trying to get to it, but before that there is the scene in the end where one of his drivers hits somebody and he says that the blood is not on my driver's hands but on my
Yeah.
hands. I think it is very powerful to also show uh, as dramatic as it is. Okay, now I cannot say that this is something that will happen in the real world or this is something that can actually happen. But I really like this dynamic where they show that somebody who has risen out of trauma, who has risen out of complications, and who has risen out of troubles has developed into a more empathetic human being, even though he has had to, as Shivangi says, the cutthroat competition, even though he had to do that to get to where he is, once he gets there, he knows how to write his ways. I
Yeah.
know it's a very Bollywood effect and it's a very dramatic effect
I
over
think
there.
it's
And
really, yeah.
yeah,
I don't think it's Bollywood. I think it's, yeah, it is really Bollywood in the sense, but I think it looks natural here because here your character actually has a character in like internal
yeah,
journey. Hate to use this word, but your character really has an arc here. So I really like that scene as well.
yeah, exactly. It's I think there's a nice wrapping up of to see how Balram has developed into the human being that
Hmm.
he has
Yeah.
on the day, and I think it's a beautiful internal journey, external, internal, all of that. The scene that I want to really talk about is the scene with um, the scene with Balram's father's death and the funeral. So where his father's
Oh yes, when he
funeral
faints.
pyre is being
Yeah, yeah.
burned, but you see the legs move.
It's the
It
weirdest
is,
thing.
yeah, and I till now I watched it 2 3 times. I watched the scene to try to understand what is going on, and I felt like it is just because I couldn't understand whether it was because they wanted to show it as he was still alive but he had to give in to death, or if he was fighting till the end, or
That
it
was what
was,
the voiceover was, right? The latter part.
yeah,
That was a voiceover.
exactly.
So I just assumed, but that scene keeps on coming like later in the movie as well. So and him fainting when he sees a white tiger. I can't
Yeah,
understand the symbolism. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't. It's just
yeah.
really nice, but equally
Hmm.
confused. Lovely. The listeners can help you out here.
Yeah. If you can like decipher this scene for us in the comments, it would be amazing. Because even when like you mentioned this entire symbolism of fainting, I
Yeah.
feel to me the way that I interpreted this was every time he sees something great happen. Like imagine you are watching this dead body move and then collapse. Okay, it is something, I think it is something great happening because for the from the boy's perspective, from the boy's point of view, he's seeing his father fight till he dies. He's seen his father who probably he didn't get a doctor till the end. So there is no way that they could have confirmed whether he was dead or alive. He died
Yeah.
at his funeral bed. Then he sees this white tiger, which is again a majestic being, which is again this entire majesty. So I feel like every time he comes in contact with greatness, to this little boy, his father's death was also his father being great.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is the entire symbolism of him fainting, and I don't know, every time he comes in contact with something that is extraordinary, so he's trying to grasp into that concept.
Mm.
But again, I could totally be wrong about it.
Yeah. I don't have a better explanation except my explanation was that whenever my explanation was that these two incidents happened at a time of his life when things were really not going well for him, and right after he just had uh really terrible experiences to the point where he was wondering if he's going to, like, live or not. Like, it was a very, I think, whenever there's like a life or death situation, that like arose in Balram's life. I think that's when the fainting happened, and I think the White Tiger one was when he actually decided that, oh, I'm not gonna take any more crap from this stupid person. I'm just going to kill them.
Yeah,
I'm
massive.
Yeah. So I think it's more about, like, how how it is about whenever he's about to lose something that's very dear to him,
Hmm.
like his life. And at
Yeah.
first instance, it was his father, then it was a life.
Hmm.
I think that's when the fainting comes in, but this is a very rational
Yeah.
explanation of it. I'm sure movies are much more than my
Yeah.
pragmatic
Hmm.
interpretation. So yeah, that could be wrong.
Yeah. I also really want to. I think this is just turning into us dissecting this movie and its aspects. But I really want to highlight this one scene which shows how much put which how much potential this guy had, and how
Yeah.
how much privilege his master Ashok had.
Hmm.
Um, in this one particular scene, where I think it is very clear, is the one where he has plotted his entire murder, and he comes back to his, or no, it's the one where he has been doing all these side businesses, and then he comes back to his
Yeah.
little room, and you
Oh
see
yeah,
Ashok
that
sitting
pissed
there.
me off so much. That was so just pissed me off. It
Hmm.
really
And
like,
you see, and Ashok is sitting there, and Ashok, being so full of himself, he says, "I know you were praying at the mandir for me," and I was like, "Arey
when
yaar,
that happened, I was scared. I was like, what if he found all the money that this dude's been collecting? Because
yeah,
like, how can he just carry all of this money in his pocket? I'm like, shit,
yeah,
mar jayega abhi
hmm,
ye.
hmm." I thought like he must have come to know that he is taking his car out without
Yeah.
telling him or something, but no, dumb Ashok, and this really shows how much potential Balram has in comparison to his master, who has had like a foreign education. Because, and also they are sitting there, this guy is drunk and they're singing. Now I don't know if it's just my bias, but Balram sang so much better. This is not Indian Idol, but Balram sang so much better, and he keeps saying, "नहीं आप तो क्या मस्त गा रहे हो," and you can have a band, and this guy is saying we should have a band together, and all of that is going on. But I felt like, to me now, because I felt like Balram sang so much better, and because Ashok cannot see the obvious
What are you
signs.
what are you judge of something? Ram sang so much better. ये Indian Idol है क्या? अनु मलिक बन गई हो तुम.
Yeah, but just I felt like it reflects on their entrepreneurial um um I can't even get the word, the potential they have, basically. Because
Yeah.
look at Ashok, who needs to keep bribing these people, and when the great socialist wins, he's so dismayed about it. He does not know what to do, and he's so mad about all of it. It shows how his calculations keep going wrong.
Yeah. He
Whereas
really.
Balram,
Yeah.
एक hit में, this guy knows what he has to get done. He's well aware. He's well aware. But even the scene where they call him half baked, I think Balram is well aware of where he stands and where he could be and what he should do. So I think this is the one scene where I don't know, if Balram did not sing much better, then it doesn't make sense. But it just shows the the place where this guy is coming from, this place of privilege, and फिर भी इसके पास इतना ज्यादा है, when he's having so much more in sum than Balram, when Balram could be doing so much more better because of his intellect.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think that's the thing about Balram, like how he's able to sweet talk and care for these people. Obviously, that's just a product of the life he's he was born to lead, right? Like the life he was
Hmm.
born to lead. So that's just a product of that. I understand that, but I think it's also very admirable how driven he is. Like he really is willing to go to any lengths. Like these people literally made him sign a confession for a murder that he did not commit, and he's still sweet talking them. He's still taking care of them. Like I, I just think it was very um like displayed Balram's potential more than anything this Ashok dude did like ever. I think because
Dude.
patience and dealing with people is a characteristic you must have as an entrepreneur if you want to start from scratch. Ashok Abhay, whatever his stupid name was, man, I don't even remember Rajkumar Raw's character because he just pissed me off so
It's
much.
Ashok, as far as I remember. It's
Yeah.
Ashok.
So Ashok did not do any of that. He spoke with money. Like he doesn't know how to get information. He doesn't know how to talk to people. Like उसके उसकी सब बाप के बदौलत थी उसको सब मिला है basically. That's
Yeah.
the entire thing it was. And you see, and then you see like Balram having genuine skill. It's just crazy, and that's another example of how Balram really succeeded. Even if both of these people were alive, Balram would have still
Hmm.
succeeded.
Hmm.
Although he
Yeah,
would
and
not have, yeah.
yeah, I also like how if you just see it now, because this movie is a great example of how privilege plays out. Um, I want to point this out about Pinky's character, the character Pinky, and Ashok. So Pinky has probably not been in this entire realm of having caste be a privilege, because she was born and raised in New York, right? And so she probably does not know all of this. So it's easier for her to say to do away with it.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
and also when Ashok talks about all of these things, when Pinky is there, when he talks about uh treating this guy well, and treating his servant well, and you know, even when the confession comes and he's reluctant, but then he does not stop him. Like, he could easily tear the paper away, right? But
yeah.
he does not stop that. He does not. And
There's just so much
Pinky's idea is
resilience
also of
I don't
leaving the
understand.
country.
Yeah.
So they won't stop him. So they, and I feel like Rajkumar Rao's character takes advantage of his privilege. And I feel like one of the reasons that he does not go back with Pinky is because he knows that it is only in India that he is going to be able to, um,
Sorry, sorry.
sort of take advantage of what he has. What do you have to say about this? I think that's also all that I have noted from my side. So if you have any last comments or if you want anything to be elaborated, Shivangi, we could do that.
I think a very good summarization of this movie basically is that, and this is a win for the communists out here, uh,
Mhm.
particularly the Marxists, because I mean, we all know we're talking all about revolution by the working class and everything. And this is quite literally the revolution that this was just such a Karl Marx, like if Karl Marx wrote plays, this is what like would have emerged. I think this is just like a mirror image of what Marx thought a class divide would be, but even better because
Yeah.
uh, you're covering a facet of people of society that obviously Marx did not have where he lived, so which is caste, and so it was pretty great to see. This revolution sounds pretty dumb, right? And then you see Balram and you see the way he just did everything. It was pretty cool to see all of that. So I think, yeah, very true depiction
Really
of
like
Marxist
how
tendencies.
I really like how you call the same person who was called Dehati Chuha in the movie, you call him cool. Really like that.
Yeah, bro, we are the same blood. बलराम एंड मेरे एक ही खून चढ़ता है. झारखंड
Okay.
बिहार का पार्ट होता था कभी. So we are the same blood. My mother has called me Dehati Chuha so many times. I mean, oversharing, but okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, uh,
Hmm.
I think this was we just started this series. We know, like, but this I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to see a movie that's got something we talk about on a regular basis so correctly, and
Yeah.
it is great. Just thought it was pretty great.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to see the White Tiger. Honestly, we thought we would have a lot to bash about this because it's about entrepreneurship, and we thought we would have a lot that we wouldn't like. But we love this movie, and this movie has set the bar really really high.
Yeah,
So we don't know if we're going to for a long time have a movie as great as it. However, wrapping things up, I would just
I
like
think
to
yeah.
urge.
Just one last
Hmm,
thing. I think
Bolo.
because I remember we were like say were like reading the reviews and everything for this movie to figure out if this is like going to be worth it or not, and I remember so many reviews about how it just perpetuates stereotypes. It doesn't. It shows you what reality is. So just wanted to say anybody who's not watching this because they don't
Yeah.
want to get the wrong impression of what North India and caste struggle is, hell, it's a very
It,
realistic representation.
yeah.
Please watch it.
Yeah.
Please.
And said, as it was said by one of our professors earlier, that stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah, they
It
have
because it
some.
has,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that because it is true and true in the sense that it applies to a majority of people. So they exist for a reason, and it's not you could not do away with it. But yeah, that is it from our side.
it
I
was
would
a
urge
great
you to,
experience watching this movie. Just amazing.
yep, I would urge you to comment below of what movies you would like us to review.
Yeah.
Okay, we would like that, and we will do it. So yeah, you can
Yep.
DM us or comment or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Cool.
Okay,
So on to like the worst nightmare for every privilege check fan. Thank you for listening to Privilege Check podcast. If you like this episode, then please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and we're gonna get back to you. Trust me.
don't forget to follow us on Instagram. That is at Privilege Check. That's PRIVILEGECHK. Here's to an enlightened life.
Great.